Welcome to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Beld, and it's my privilege to interview the movers, shakers, and change makers impacting the Vista community and beyond. Today, my guest is Adam Brooks, owner and operator of Alchemy Print Co. Alchemy is Vista's print shop, creating custom printed goods. Some of Alchemy's Vista clients include Moonlight Stage, The Wave, the Vista Chamber, NCTD, Tri-City Medical Center, Vista Unified School District, and the Boys and Girls Club of Vista, and many other incredible businesses. Adam currently serves on the Vista Chamber Board of Directors and was chairman of the board for 2021-2022. Adam was born and raised in Vista and now lives here with his young family. Welcome, Adam. So glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk to you. We were chatting just a bit before we started talking about how we kind of know each other kind of well, but some things I think we'll talk about today might be, I'm excited to learn more about you. So.
Cool.
So we'll jump on in. I want to know, first of all, how did you end up becoming an entrepreneur? Were you like making screen printed t-shirts in your garage for your friends? Or how did you become an entrepreneur? Tell me about that journey.
This was definitely something that I wanted to get into business somehow before I knew what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I don't think it always goes that way. I don't think that's the smartest way to do it. I think coming from a background where you have experience and going that way is way smarter. Makes a lot more sense. I was pretty young when I decided that I did want to go into business. I was 18 and I didn't have much experience, or I just came out of high school and did traveling and really thought I knew a lot, but didn't know very much at all. So I did a little bit of traveling after high school because it was kind of, I wanted to be a teacher really. And then I was interested in business. I liked, the cool possible lifestyle of having reoccurring income and being able to travel and all this stuff you hear about, entrepreneur, like all this stuff. I was like, that could be pretty cool too. I really enjoyed at my high school, Guajome Park Academy, we had a business and leadership program at the time. I really did like that. We had smoothie bar and a wellness center and a challenge course. And I was involved in all of those things and I really liked it. But at the same time, my family all comes from education and that seemed to be natural. And I do like to teach. I do like to spread knowledge and do that stuff. So after high school, I wanted to travel and get a certificate so I could dabble in teaching and see if that was what it was. So I got my TOEFL in Prague and did a little bit of teaching through the program there. But at the same time, it was like mid-2008, economy is crashing. I saw family members who had jobs for years and years and years in education and elsewhere lose their jobs. And it scared me. And I thought, I need to work for myself. I don't want to have my career or something so important in the hands of someone else. And if something were to happen, I want it to be my own fault, my own hand, and just not be able to look up the chain and say, this guy, you know what I mean? Like just have it all in my own hands, which is looking back now, crazy. The smarter, easier, best thing to do is to get a degree, go get a career in that field. And that's the safest thing to do. Now I have a young family. I'm still an entrepreneur. My business is no longer a startup, but there are a lot of risks all around, all the time. There's always risks, and it's a very high stress environment. You understand, small business and the stakes that are on the table, people's jobs, and for us now we act as an auxiliary of many businesses. We are their screen printing department. And those types of relationships are really, really important to us to keep us going. So there's just, it can be a very, very challenging thing to balance all of those things. And then looking back to the original, I want to go into business to be all those risks that I try to avoid are right there in my lap, and I'm dealing with them straight on. But it is what it is. There are benefits to going out on your own and having the freedom to say, I'm going home now. Without having to ask anyone and do that. But you don't you kind of think going into entrepreneurship, I don't want any bosses. I want to work for myself. Every client is a boss. Every person that you represent or help is now a boss. Right. And I have more bosses than I've ever had in my life because you do get to fire them if they don't work out. If it's not a good fit, you can disband and try and do it in a way that works for both parties. But Yeah, I definitely went way off topic and just went all the way around. So
that's okay.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. I love hearing your passion for the work that you do. And even though it can be hard, that idea of it, it's really fascinating to me that the idea of someone who's 18 or 19 years old basically starts a company and now is employing people and is such a big player in the community with regard to that. So I love that story of just, the realization of the economy in 2008 at the time. Timing is everything. And the timing of you exploring education, but also realizing I want to be in charge of my own destiny. And I think that really will resonate with a lot of other people who are small business owners, that they want to be in charge of their own destiny. It doesn't matter. And like you said, you don't want to have a boss, and now you do have bosses. I think
a lot more wrinkles on my face than a 30-year-old should, but it comes with the turf. Yeah.
So Adam, tell me, what are the products that Alchemy makes?
Mainly screen printing on apparel. We print. So a lot of times we don't make the product, we print on the product. A customer will supply us a garment to print on, or we will source the garment to print on. Mainly apparel.
Okay.
Shirts for runs, school spirit, company shirts, all of the above.
Tote bags,
okay. Hats, all that stuff.
That's your main jam. But you also do business cards and banners, and people can come to you for really any printing need.
They can, yeah.
Okay. And do you print those things in-house, or
we outsource that?
those?
And I'm super upfront about that type of stuff. A lot of times there's a subset of customers that want to work with one printer.
Right.
They don't want to go to 6 different shops. They want to work with one
like you, they like your personality, They know you're going to take care of them.
So it makes sense to be able to, if you're that printer, to outsource and have the person who's best at doing that job do that job right. Some people really don't like that. It really gets them that you're subbing out. Okay, go directly to them, but there are challenges, and what people have to understand is if you're trying to get the best deal, if you're trying to take the job of one of my resellers and supply, you're a company, you're a small business, instead of going to them to place your order, you're going to go get your own shirts and cut them out of the picture. Know that when you provide me those garments, you're responsible for those garments. If something goes wrong, there's a different set of rules for contract printing and for retail printing.
Okay.
Retail printing, you come to me, Vista Chamber of Commerce comes to me and says, hey, we want some work shirts. And this is what we want our logo to be, and this is what it is, and we want this shirt. Okay, cool. I'm buying the shirt. I'm marking up the shirt. I'm marking up the print.
Right.
I'm keystoning that product. If something goes wrong and you say, Adam, these shirts are terrible. What the heck? I need to go replace it, fix it. I'm fine. I covered that. As a contract printer, I can't do that. The customer's supplying me these garments. Sometimes they're $65 fire retardant garments that are going to be out in the field that,
you can't just get another batch of them.
I can't just get another batch of them.
Right.
And they might have other properties that I have no control over. They have a chemical on them that wants to repel ink because it's fire retardant.
Right.
Things like that. We can't, you guys, if you're supplying the garments, you have to be responsible for. And in that case, you're better off going to a retail printer that they'll handle everything. They'll do all that stuff. You might pay a little bit more overall, maybe a lot more, but you're going to have those policies that are going to take care of you and make sure that you're going to be covered. Where if you're trying to, and I have people try to do this, they try to act like they're providing the garments. They want the best price because they're going straight to the source, but they do not want a responsibility for the poor quality garments they provided that are mis-sewn. And, well, why didn't you tell us that? There's lots of things that a lot of education that needs to go down to make that work. So I think for most small businesses, go to a retail printer to get your stuff done. If you're in the industry and your business is that, you might need to go to a contract printer, but just understand that if you're supplying them a product to print on, a lot of that liability shifts from them to you.
Got it. Okay. Interesting. Okay, cool. As a screen printer and being a screen printing division for other people's companies, what is screen printing? Because I don't think people really know what that is.
Good question. Screen printing is when you create a stencil, a screen to allow the ink to pass through that stencil to be imprinted on a garment, or for us, garments most of the time, but it could be a lot of different things. Almost anything is screen printable However, we prefer plastisol and dealing only with textiles. I don't like using enamels or a lot of different types of inks that require a lot more ventilation and things that printing on hard surfaces. If I'm printing on a bunch of bottles, that takes up a lot of space. We're printing on a bunch of shirts. A palette can have a lot of garments. Or a palette of bottles, it might not be that many bottles, and that I don't like to deal in those. So screen printing essentially is creating a stencil that allows ink to pass through. Multiple colors require multiple screens. Each stencil will be different given what's on that stencil. Generally, you will need an underbase, especially if it's going on a dark garment. You will need to have a white or a light colored underbase, typically white, that the color falls onto.
Okay.
So if I just throw a royal blue or red on this black, you won't see it. So there's a lot of intricacies that come with different types of artwork, whether it's a photo, whether it's like has gradients, whether it's just block graphics. There's a lot of different intricacies that need like huge knowledge base that takes really either thorough education by taking screen printing classes and stuff like that, which they offer out there, or just doing it. And that's the kind of route I went, which it seems like the easier route, but you're literally learning on everything you do that you mess up, that you imprint. There's a lesson learned. So you learn what you can do and what you can't do as you go. But yeah, screen printing all starts back to the screen, the stencil that's letting that ink pass through. Or digital printing, whether it be like your home printer that is basically modified to print on a t-shirt or a garment directly on there. They typically call that DTG or direct to garment. Or another digital method is transfers. And we've gotten a little bit into that game where you are printing transfers and then heat pressing them on garments. That makes a lot of sense for jobs where it's a lot of colors. If you have 5 or 6 colors and you only need 10 pieces, transfer is the way to do it. Don't screen printing. It doesn't.
Because you need a different screen for each color.
Yes.
And so if you are doing a garment or something with 10 colors, you need 10 screens.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to do very many, a large volume, it's not cost effective.
Exactly. The cost of the setup would outweigh the worth of the job, in my opinion.
Okay. So here's a funny story. In the 6th grade in middle school, I took a class called Industrial Technologies. Ooh. I think it was essentially shop, basically. And we did units on different things. And one of the units was screen printing. And we made our own screens and we designed our own screen thing and made shirts for ourselves. Did
you use emulsion, or how did you make the stencil?
I don't remember. But we did something, and then we had to take like a rubbery spatula and scrape it on, and we all made shirts, and everybody in the class, we rocked those shirts until they fell apart. Yeah. Nice. So I just remember, just had that memory as you were describing screen printing. I had forgotten all about that. Core memory unlocked. Exactly.
Perfect.
So, so what is your favorite part of your work?
There's a lot of really, really cool things, but it's also a really challenging industry. I love the fact that we really are connecting to so many different organizations, our community. That's really cool. We are putting the shirts on the backs of people who are doing really, really important things, and we're helping brands get established and launched. And it's cool. Like, it's cool when you can go to a place and see your work everywhere, all throughout San Diego. I can go downtown San Diego and see people with a vest on their back that we printed up because one of our major clients is down there, and they're big. They've been around since the 50s. So for us to be their screen printer and fulfilling for their clients, who are very cool clients that I can't even talk about because we're the contract printer. We're not the
main printer.
We're not the main person that the customer works with or deals. They sub it out to us that fulfills it. So our work's everywhere. I get to see it all the time, and it's cool to go to a place, especially like when you do a lot of work for schools and stuff, and you see a bunch of kids wearing their school shirts, and you're like, I printed all those. That's always fun. There's a funny meme that's in one of the screen printing forums where it's Jennifer Lopez, Ben Affleck. Okay, so it's J Lo and Ben Affleck, and then he's looking at something, and he whispers to her, "I printed that shirt," and she looks completely unamused. And that's just me all day long.
Right.
I'm just like, see that? I did that. I get to do that all day.
That's fun. That's fun. I want to ask you about your involvement with the chamber. So I think when most people think about a chamber of commerce, they don't necessarily envision someone like you, young, entrepreneur, business owner, being the chairman of the board. I think you might be the youngest chair of the board that we had, at least in my memory. And so what led you, if you come to an organization and you don't see a lot of peers, what led you to get super involved with the chamber? I love it, and I'm glad you did, and I would clone you if I could.
I think this is going to be a grim answer. When you start a business, when you're a founder and you're starting something that is it's not real yet, you're just you're leading the way on something that is still a startup, there is a lot of loneliness. And a lot of people don't get what you're doing and couldn't understand. And there's a lot of isolation in leading the way and trying to get stuff up. So when I kind of found the chamber, one thing that I really saw was other like-minded people that are in the same category. They're running
they're innovators.
Show. They're innovators, and they're leading the ship, and people are questioning what they're doing, but they're steadfast and they're going to keep on going. And that was inspiring to me to see other people like that, to be in a network. At the time, I'm 19, 20 years old. I think when I joined, I was probably like 22 or 23. We were starting to really get established, but it was really nice to see a community. And the Vista Chamber in particular, I have to say, I've been to a lot of chamber functions. I've been to a lot of local chambers. I'm just so impressed with how Vista has open arms for new people, the way they let you in. There's no, it's not like any sort of club or anything like that.
There's like culture of knowledge sharing.
Yeah. And I found that to be fantastic. And of course it was great for our business. It comes it's a two-part thing. We get to give and help and support small businesses and be here with the chamber but we're also spreading the knowledge about our brand and stuff like that. And we're working with people that we probably wouldn't have worked with if I didn't have the chamber as a resource. So there's so many great reasons to join your local chamber and more chambers, but like beyond your area if you can. But I think it's important for all small businesses, especially if you're leading the way and you're like, sometimes you need information and advocacy, that there's nothing like the chamber that can do that.
Absolutely. I had never thought of it in that way about, I know as an organization leader, it can be lonely. You don't really have a peer. You can't really go to your employees and vent about your struggles or frustrations or worries, right? You just can't. And if you have a partner in your life, you only have, I joke that my husband have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm done. And he's very, he'll always listen, but at the same time, he doesn't get it. He's in a totally different industry. So I like that you identified that you had peers and you have like-minded folks that you could connect with at the chamber. And so that's great. I love that answer.
At J&R Auto Body and Paint, you don't have to worry about a thing. From minor dents and dings to major collision repair, we offer a worry, hassle-free experience with superior customer service. Our auto claim advisors work directly with your insurance company, so you don't have to deal with the headaches. Our certified technicians work on all makes and models to get your repair done right the first time. We stand behind our work with a lifetime warranty. Locally and family owned, J&R Auto Body is here to serve the community. Call us today at 760-724-4923.
Hi, it's Carrie from Solatube Home in Vista, California. If you're looking for ways to brighten and cool your home, we are your natural light and fresh air experts. We offer a selection of daylighting and ventilation products to help make your home beautiful and comfortable. And the best part of all is you won't be using any electricity to brighten up. We can bring beautiful, natural light into those dark spaces in your home, transforming them into beautifully lit spaces in less than 2 hours. No mess, no fuss, just amazing natural light to make your home look and feel great. If you're looking to cool off your home, we have a complete line of ventilation products to keep your home and garage cool. We want to make cooling and refreshing your home easier and more energy efficient than ever with our line of whole house fans, solar attic fans, and garage fans. Our certified installers carry the full line of Solatube daylighting and ventilation products on their vans at all times. Installation can usually be done in about 2 hours. No messy drywall, paint repair, structural changes, or re-roofing needed. It's pretty much the easiest home improvement project you'll ever take on. At Solatube Home, we offer no obligation appointments throughout Southern California. Visit our website at solatubehome.com or stop by our showroom conveniently located in Vista at 2210 Oak Ridge Drive, or give us a call, 619-375-1629. We look forward to brightening your day.
For more than 60 years, Tri-City Medical Center has been committed to advancing the health and wellness of the community we serve. With leading-edge emergency care, including top-rated heart and stroke programs, advanced orthopedics, primary care, obstetrics, and neonatal care, Tri-City stands at the ready when you need us most. Learn more at tricitymed.org.
What advice would you have for other, besides joining your local chamber, what advice would you have for other entrepreneurs?
Couple things. Be careful. Really I definitely went full, just dove right into it and then learned as I went. I think just the more research you can do up front, the safer you're going to be. Listen to peers, listen to other industry folk. One of the things I did to get involved in what I did was just work at a bunch of different small businesses, see how they operated, see what they did, how did you market, where are you sourcing your stuff. I wasn't telling them that I'm going to go start up my own business. I was observing and just kind of watching. I would say, as you start, don't be so sure about what start. Don't come up with obstacles. There's always an obstacle. There's always a reason why not to do it, but there's a better reason why to do it. Just do it and then wait. And it's like data analysis. You have to see what your customer says. When I first started, what I was doing was screen printing tote bags screen printing or digital printing artwork on tote bags in farmers markets. It slowly became apparent that people were coming to me more for custom printing. I was having screen printers coming to me and say, hey, you're doing this digital printing. I have customers that need this full color stuff, but they only want 10. That slowly became my bread and butter. And I realized, I need to transition into a custom printer versus that. So pay attention to what your customers are buying and pay attention to what they're saying, especially when you're starting, because you might not know. You might be going into a new journey of business and you're starting a new venture, but let them help define what you are, because they might have some really great ideas. At the same time, at some point, you will get out of your startup phase and set some ground rules and say, this is what we are, this is what we do. There's a balancing act there, but listen to your customers. If you're doing something that's working in some way that you didn't expect, pay attention. And
so be open-minded to the other opportunities that could come to you through your business. Yeah. Right. So you may have a set design, set idea of what you want to do, but be open to the kind of the offshoots that can come from that. I think that's really good. That's really good. So what's next for Alchemy?
Well, there's lots of cool things we can do. I like what we do. I like being a screen printer and servicing our local community, but within the industry, there are always things. Every industry has products that they buy. So if you're in auto detailing, you're buying your chemicals and you're buying your stuff. And it's hard for me to not look up at those other vendors and stuff who are supplying things, but not actually screen printing, not actually doing the work. And I know that we can see things in a clearer perspective that can be done for the industry. I think that we have some really cool technology on our hands that we're slowly starting to implement ourselves, and it could be brought to market in other ways. Okay. I don't want to talk about too many specifics, but one thing that I'm super passionate about is water filtration. Yep. In this industry, it can be very messy, it can be very ugly. And it astonishes me how many times I've had techs come in and be like, what's that you have there? Looking at the way we clean our water and get it out in a good way. Okay. They're saying that because other screen printers aren't doing this. And I think something that could really help the industry is coming up with a great filtration system or something along those lines. There are so many little pockets within there that I would like to take and go out with. Because when you're doing it every day, when you're in it, you're the best person to say, hey, this would work a lot better than, I see it all the time. New products being developed. Like, who designed this? I would never use this in my shop. It's because people who are in the industry of creating things to sell are not actually using it. They don't actually have a
okay. So you see some opportunities for efficiencies, improvements to technology that could help the screen printing industry overall. Well, that's exciting.
I think so.
That's cool.
I think that's what keeps me going. In my gut, I would love to be a multipreneur and start a business and grow it and sell it. But there's something that I really do love about what we do. And I would love to have that as a base, to not give it away and then kind of go out, branch in different areas from here. Having the best testing ground, the best lab to test these products and technologies and see, oh, that works, that doesn't work. What if we tweak this? What if we put this over here, add a little bit more sensors for heat or whatever? I think that could be a really cool future for Alchemy. Of course, we want to keep fulfilling and doing screen printing. That's our thing.
It's your jam.
But
yeah. What were you an artist as a kid?
I was a musician. I was not an artist. That's funny because I was always a musician. I can't draw very well. But I love art. Art is really cool. So
An art appreciator.
Okay. Who knows that I need to hire someone who's much better than me at that to keep that going. So that's another thing, like advice for young businesses or startups is watch the people you have, hone the people you have. I see you doing an excellent job at this at the chamber. See who does what well and listen. If they do a bit, like I have employees that are incredible at color separation, there's brands in the country that will only go through us because they are comfortable with our processes and how we'll let them do press checks and they like the way we separate things. Separation coming to like the artwork and separating the artwork and getting ready for print.
Sure.
And having it go really well. That's my art director. That guy, he does such a great job. Josh, you kill it in the art. I have someone who is very organized and understands systems in a much better way than I do and can put them in a way that can let production take the ball and run with it better than I can put it together. And Kyle is in charge of that. He really helps make the production flow of that. And he's the one that comes to me and says, we got to fix this. We got to do this. These systems aren't working. Check. And the thing it's you have to have different people that are
with
good
different
at different
skill
things.
sets.
And that comes with different personalities. And that's always a challenge, but it can be good. It's just being able to like make everyone work together, make everyone gel and say, hey, I know this part of this person or this thing is frustrating, but look at what they do so well. How can we move forward and make everyone shine? That's always going to be a challenge. But see what they're good at and put them in those positions. If this person's better at getting the systems to work, all right, that's my systems guy. If this person is the best at art and really has a knack for customer service, all right, you're working with the clients, getting their artwork done type of thing. I shouldn't be there. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be trying to step back. And that's a hard thing.
And grow your company. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where teaching and your passion for teaching, I think I see that connecting to the role that you serve is, letting your employees shine in the areas where they have skills and trusting them and letting them grow and learn on their own and perfect their role. And then you have to step back and run your business, manage everything, grow your business, do all of the other pieces. So I think that's great advice.
And it's challenging because
it's hard.
Your name's on as the business owner, as the person who, at the end of the day, it's going to go all the way up to you and it's your fault. Everything that goes on in your shop or your domain, it's going to go back. You know how that trail goes. It's challenging to step back and say, hey, you do this really well. I struggle with it. I do struggle with it, with not going in and doing press checks and stuff like that. I do, because sometimes having that outside perspective does help. It's not great, but when it comes to print and all these details that we're coming through, having someone double check, having a second pair of eyes on it is helpful. But there's a balancing act. If I'm always I could be a real menace to production, and I've been there. Don't get me wrong. I've made several managerial mistakes that I've learned from my employees. Oh, this isn't going to work. I need to tighten up and fix it and be like this now because your personality isn't going to work like this.
Well, and also it kind of whenever you move kind of from the startup phase where you are truly wearing every hat, you're playing every role, you have to know each piece of your business inside, outside, and all the things. Then you get to a stage where you're hiring people and you're trusting people. That's the next kind of phase of running a business, is that you have your teams in place so that you can focus on running the actual business. So, you mentioned you've kind of moved out of the startup phase, and I think that's a great example of that, is that you've moved out of that. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want people to know about Alchemy, about yourself, about anything?
I guess more in general about starting a business and growing your business and leaving that startup phase to the we're a business and these are our policies and this is our thing phase. Things change. Practices, policies need to change. Flexibility needs to change. I'm a highly flexible person. I can get a job come in, flip it around, get it to go out. And that works in the startup phase. But when you're starting to grow and have lots and lots and lots of different jobs come in and there's lots of moving parts, going and grabbing that easy job and flipping it over there needs to be an organized system and having people organize those systems. I'm going way off that, John.
Are you trying to say that you need to say no sometimes?
Well,
turn down, be more selective?
So as you grow, as you kind of leave that startup phase, certain clients that you worked with in the beginning might not work out. A lot of times you have a willingness and a flexibility that you can have as a startup because you are literally desperate for cash to keep that bank account rolling, to make payroll, to pay those bills. You'll have a certain amount of flexibility to make those things happen that you cannot have growing your business, because at some point you're going to put constraints on production and on the people who actually have to make these jobs come to reality. If they're dealing with the chaos of a boss saying, do this job now, do this job, do this job because they need it then. That's hard. And we're still struggling with that because different clients have different needs and different wheels squeak differently. They will drive the salesperson that there's always a production and sales conflict. In almost every business, I've seen it over and over again. There's a production and sales conflict, and trying to mitigate that as best as possible is very challenging because what the customer wants and what the salesperson knows we can do might not match up always with what production knows with what's going to work in our timeline and stuff like that. So leaving your flexible startup policies and working with everyone and doing anything to make a buck thing has to go away, and that's hard, and you will end up having to fire clients and do different things and operate differently. That might not be fun anymore. It might
be hard.
It might be hard. And I know that me and my personality is better in that startup phase. I like to start it and get it going. And then now you get to a phase where you're kind of like, okay, now this is a moving machine and it needs a manager that is managing all
and you have to make
stuff.
really smart strategic business decisions. And it may mean that a client that you were able, somebody calls you, well, you used to always turn this around for me in a couple of days. And you're like, I just can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's good advice for folks. Okay. So I always ask rapid fire questions at the end of each episode. And so I want to ask you for a book recommendation. What's a book you think everyone should read?
I don't think everyone should read this, but I did get, and this is like a total entrepreneur wonk book, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad was a really good book for me to get my start. I remember one of my math teachers looked at me and he was like, you need to just go start a business. One time they're just like, you are not doing your homework, but I see what you're doing over there. Here, read this book. And at the same time, he was right. I needed to go do that and not be in academia or not go right into corporate America or anything like that. He was absolutely right. So
you're a creative thinker and make your own rules. So that's wise to have a teacher kind of point at you and say, this is your path.
You need to get out of here. You're not doing good. Here, read this book. Get out of my head.
So Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That was a good one.
Okay. It's a good one. All right. What's your jam? Tell me a song. You always turn it up. Your favorite song. Do you have a favorite song? I know it's hard because people love music so much.
Viscera Eyes from Mars Volta. Viscera Eyes. And this one's crazy. Mars Volta is insane.
Okay.
They're wonderful. And most of the time, the people who really like Mars Volta are musicians because
Okay, I'm going to check it out.
Viscera eyes, Mars Volta.
I have never heard of any of those words, but
Perfect.
I look forward to, I love to expose myself to new music. So that's one of the reasons I asked that question is because I just love discovering new music. And so I'm going to be listening to that song
Do it.
as soon as we're done recording this. Okay.
You'll be like, oh.
Am I going to cry? Okay. Tell me something that inspires you.
My kids.
Yeah, they're cute.
Hard. My two babies. I got a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, and you everything changes with them. They're the most amazing things in the world, and your reasons for moving forward change when they come. My wife and my kids are just. I wish I could just be at home with them all day, but I can't. So I'm going to start a business, grow my business, and hopefully eventually have the funds to just be with them as much as I can. But
that's great. I love that. All right. Tell me a Vista business you think deserves a shout out.
Oh, there's so many. That's tough. Okay. Where am I always going? So like the breweries are incredible. Let's be real. Like Guadalupe. I love Guadalupe. I love their own Stave. If you're getting print done and you're looking for a good place to get print done, check out SignArt. SignArt kills it when it comes down to their wraps, their signs, their big format stuff is really great. There's so many
great businesses. And it's hard too, because you've been so involved with the chamber. You get to know so many people.
Yeah.
I know it's a hard question, but it also helps me think about who I might want to interview next. So I appreciate that.
Get someone from SignArt. They're really cool and they have a good story.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you to our guest, Adam Brooks, and thank you for listening to Velocity. If you like what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and tell a friend. Help us move Vista forward with Velocity. The Vista Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization that serves as a catalyst for business growth. Visit us online at vistachamber.org.